Failed presidential candidate and unfortunate head of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr., is calling for a new way to tackle measles. And I know what you're thinking, don't we have an effective vaccine? Shut up about that. We don't care. We're not interested. We've got something new. Vitamins and drugs that have existed for a really long time that don't actually treat measles, but we're gonna pretend that they might. That's what he's doing. And some of you are gonna be critical of RFK Jr. about this, but I want you to bear in mind, he's not a doctor and he doesn't know anything about this. So just let him do whatever he wants as he goes wild all over health. Anyway, here's what's gonna happen. We've got this measles outbreak right now, Texas, New Mexico, hundreds and hundreds of people, multiple deaths already. And he's got this new plan. We're gonna give you those details. But in the context of this, I want you to understand, he recently was going around and telling new parents, hey, vaccines, maybe do your own research on that. That thing that you say as a person who's wealthy and has power to produce a veneer of value to the research some people are gonna do, which is to watch Alex Jones and go on 4chan, learn nothing, the same way RFK Jr. has learned nothing, and then not protect their kids from preventable illnesses. He knows exactly what the effect of this will be because RFK Jr. already knows the product of this sort of research. He's been responsible for outbreaks already. But that said, when the outbreaks come, what are we gonna do to treat people? Well, a statement from his HHS spokesperson said Secretary Kennedy will be enlisting the entire agency to activate a scientific process to treat a host of diseases, including measles, with single or multiple existing drugs in combination with vitamins and other modalities. And so in response to this, apparently the American Academy of Pediatrics put out a whole website addressing this. They say measles is a very serious illness for children and there is no proven or licensed treatment. Recent claims that, I knew I was gonna have trouble with this, budesonide and clarithromycin cure measles are reckless and put children at serious risk. There is no cure for measles. Immunization is the only way to prevent the spread of measles. And when you do it, it is wildly successful. It's easy to do and it works. So screw that, because RFK Jr.'s the logical part of his brain, the brain capable of critical thought, was long since munched on by a worm. So screw all of what the actual doctors say, the people with collectively centuries of experience on this. We'll do what he says instead. And as a result of this, more kids are definitely going to die and more people are gonna get sick. We've been focusing on measles, but this is not just about measles. He is always gonna push these alternative treatments for things that we already have the solution for. What do you think?
The whitest thing in the world, the rich whitest person thing in the world is figuring out how to give yourself problems we've already solved. Camping is one of these things. Hiking is one of these things. Like you have a house. Well, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be better by seeing what it's like to experience adversity. I'm gonna go, in order to do that, I'm gonna go to REI and drop $1,000. That's the benign version. The Kennedy level version of this is, oh, we've cured measles by preventing it. We've literally, technically eradicated measles from the United States. The only way it's come back is when someone goes and travels and brings it back from wherever the hell. Germany, if it's the German measles, right? We've eradicated it. And he is finding a way to say it's better to have measles. And his justification is do your own research. It is because his last name is Kennedy is the only thing I can come up with, is because he has lived this wildly awesome life and then suffered some medical adversity at some point and is now tilting at this windmill that he can't convince us it actually exists as a threat, which is like, dude, I know you want to make vaccines cause autism happen. But if you ask people who study this for a living, they say that is not the case. And rather than listen to them and find the actual cause, he has tapped a guy who has been charged in a state court with practicing medicine without a license. That's the dude who's in charge of finding out what causes autism. And he has written extensively through all these charges and all this charlatanery. He is avowed. He said autism is caused by vaccines. Yep. This guy had like a thing he pointed out. He's like, oh, there's this one mercury-based preservative in vaccines that causes autism. They got rid of it. Kids still have autism. Why? I asked an expert in child autism, someone who runs the child autism program at a major hospital. And he says that the reason for this is because there's just better diagnoses. We diagnose people on the spectrum. We used to just diagnose people who were nonverbal, and now we have different classifications. That's it. But that's not enough for this guy because he just has, he's got an idea in his head and science can't shake it out of him.
Yeah, but that doctor you talked to, oh, sure, he's a doctor or whatever. Is he from a famous family? Like,
no.
Does he have like a cool name? Oh, well then, I don't care about that. This dude's a Kennedy. And also, yeah, the guy he put in charge isn't a doctor, but why should that guy have to have any more actual expertise than his boss has? None of these people are doctors. They don't know anything about this. And this guy, at least, I'm assuming his brain hasn't been cannibalized yet. It hasn't actually been consumed. So I trust him more. Anyway, no, they're just, I don't know what day it'll be. I don't know if it'll be a Monday, a Tuesday. Later this year, they're going to announce that they're banning the vaccines. That's the inevitable outcome of this. They're going to announce a ban on the vaccines, and way, way more kids are going to get sick and die as a result of this. Because again, for all that this movement, MAGA and MAHA and all that is corrupt and criminal and cruel and all the C's that we talk about every day, it's all so D. It's dumb, dumb, dumb. We are governed by the stupidest people in America. We have given power to people who should not even be in charge of their own affairs, let alone the affairs of our kids.
So here's an important question.
Super fast.
Do you think the best, like, I know we get criticized for calling people dumb, but what we have to do, what they want us to do is go to people and go like, I understand that you're upset and we should really figure out who the culprit is.
Because they do that with us. Yeah, we don't have time to go into it. He thinks that there's fetus debris in vaccines. Like I cannot go into all of the things that he somehow believes that are obviously untrue. If you enjoyed that, then make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming a member. So you're probably wondering, why would I do that? Well, when you do that, you get access to bonus content that I make every single week, and it's a lot of fun. You get custom emojis and more. If you join at tier 3, by the way, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself. And you'll get all that going forward, but you'll also unlock years of the back catalog that is literally 100 or more bonus clips and top 10 lists and debates and more. So what are you waiting for?